All right, it is 6 p.m. and we're gonna try to get started. First, we'll have to touch base with Justin with County Legal. Justin, are you on currently? He's there.
You're muted. You're muted.
Justin, can you join us? There we go.
I can't. Everything was frozen for a second.
Great. Real quick question. Ken noticed on the county website that the previous version of the ordinance was posted as far as our quorum, our number of members back to 9. Is that going to affect our quorum this evening?
No, it should still be 7. That's what's passed. So that should be fine. I don't know why that old version is showing up.
Okay, so we can go by with what was passed by the commission and proceed this evening with 4?
Yes, I don't know why that's showing up. That's odd. But yes, the membership now is 7. So
yeah. Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that. Did you have another? Okay. Well, perfect. All right. So we'll jump then to the approval of the August 5th meeting minutes. Do we have any questions, discussions, or motion?
I have one update. The motion to approve the minutes, my records show that we only had 6 commissioners present. Catherine hadn't arrived yet. It's showing that it passed 7-0. Where my copy of my minutes? I have it here somewhere. That's not it. Stand by. I brought it with me. Here it is. My notes from last week showed that Catherine wasn't either wasn't present or abstained. I don't recall precisely when she arrived, but the minutes showed that it was a 7-0 passage. And to be correct, it should be 6-0 or 6-0-1. I'm not sure which.
All right.
So I make a motion to amend the minutes, the passage part, section 1, to read 6-0.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And was that also, so that was a motion to amend. Do we have a motion to approve the amended minutes?
So
Second.
And a second? Okay. All in favor? Again? Aye. Any abstentions, oppositions? All right. So we'll jump down into our new business. Let's first start by, who do we have here this evening? Alcott, and you two are together? Okay. Ray? All right. We'll start with the ticket appeal for Ray, and then we'll move to Alcott. Do we? This is the one.
I'm not
Okay.
familiar with this one, and I tried to read up on the case before, but it was not making sense to me and what
All right.
was written in the report, so.
So this is the request to appeal the ticket. The officer in charge is not present this evening. So we have his written case notes and the ticket here.
I read it with our side of things. I'm not sure how beneficial I can be to this.
If the commission is comfortable, we can go ahead and move to Angel Ray. Angel, is that correct? Or is there, do we have discussions or questions with the ticket at this
I
time?
can clarify as much as I can with that, but as far as any real insight into it, I was not present when it was written or took place.
Well, we do have the report from the reporting officer. And I guess I could just read it into the minutes. Part of it. On August 7th of 1642, Mr. Griffin called and stated Remy was back on property and he had proof. I've been to this location previously on June 19th, 2024, and addressed the issue with a verbal warning. I also transported Remy to her owner once she got out while I was on the scene. I will be issuing citations for the incident. Citation number 2199 for Remy, a brown female unaltered lab type dog. This citation covers the fact that Remy is unaltered and no proper vaccination records on file for violation of County Ordinance 447, public nuisance. 44010, no current rabies vaccination. And 44012, dog at large, and specified the amounts of the fines totaling $325. So, unusual to be doing that, but there we have it. So I guess we would ask the appellate if she has
Yep.
any information.
Yeah. Ms. Ray, would you like to come on up and tell us why you are appealing this citation?
So I couldn't get my printer to work for the life of me, but I do have her rabies vaccination documentation. Am I able to just show you that, or?
Yeah, I think so.
It's just in my email, and she's due this September.
Okay. So this is a vaccine records from Royer Veterinary Service.
Mhm.
Yep. This is just a record, says it's good until September 12th, 2024. So dog reported this is current with rabies.
Yep, okay. Cool.
You're very welcome. And then as far as, did somebody drop her off at the house? There was no officer. I spoke to an officer months prior to this because she did tend to get out of the yard, and she's coon lab, so she tends to get a sniff of something and wants to go run in the woods. And he let me know that there were a couple of people that were worried about her getting hit or her getting in the trash. But I was not aware of anybody ever bringing her back to my home, especially in that point in time. So I'm not really aware of that situation at all. That's what's kind of confusing about it. I can't remember the gentleman's name that first came out to my house. He was an older gentleman.
So at the first time, did he transport Remy back to you that first time or?
No, when he had spoke
Okay.
to me, he said that he just got back from vacation, and that he had a few voicemails, somebody that was previously taking his position, I guess wasn't doing anything with them. So he had came and told me that if she had gotten off leash again or whatever the case may be, that there would be fines and such applied. But I am not aware of anybody bringing ever since then. She's been on the lead. She doesn't like the lead. She sits there and barks all day, which is probably more annoying than anything. But she's 100% strictly been on a lead until we get our fence up. So I am not aware of anybody bringing her home, any officers bringing her home. We've contained the situation since I had that talk with the first officer.
So basically the question is.
But there are multiple dogs that do run around that neighborhood in that vicinity. So I am not sure if they maybe thought they had saw Remy or what the case may be. There's the poofy dog with the white eye and the blue eye. His name's Diesel. He's very friendly. He tends to come around. There was another couple of dogs, a black dog and a little white dog running around the neighborhood. So I'm not sure if somebody's just getting Remy confused with another dog, because I promise we have 100% made sure that we contained the situation and it's not an issue anymore. So I don't have money to just be throwing out because the dog got loose type aspect.
And so to your knowledge, Remy wasn't loose. When was the last time Remy off your property, to your knowledge?
It was the same day the officer came and talked to me. So I'm not sure what day that was. It was a gentleman.
June 19th.
June 19th is the last note in here.
And it would have been.
Okay, so I guess I'm confused. So the ticket. So what you're saying is, while so when that ticket was issued, you were on vacation.
I was currently out of town, but my fiance was home and he was home with my daughter and I was helping my mother-in-law after a surgery. But nobody had come. We have surveillance video of the front yard, you know, of the porch area. Nobody came and dropped off any dog.
Wow, without the officer present, we've got a he said, she said,
Yeah.
we can't really pick one side or the other. I don't know, talking here, but maybe we suspend it. And if the dog is found loose again in 90 days and we revisit this, otherwise,
Well, let's start. Do we have any other questions? Or
yeah, I mean,
if not, yeah, let's go into discussion. You're welcome to have us, you're welcome to stay up here if you want. We're gonna go into a time of discussion and moving, so you're welcome to stay up here, or if you want to return
Right,
your
right.
seat.
And I'm more than happy to pay the fee for her not being altered. I guess that's a thing. I mean, that is something that is,
So the intact violation goes with the at-large, so those are combined.
right, because she's running. Yeah. And then just.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.
yeah, so the discussion part, I was saying that if the officer who transported Remy to her owner, that it's on the report,
So,
but
Mr. Griffin, so let me just make sure. Who's Mr. Griffin?
I think he was the officer.
Mr. Griffin was the person that called in about the dog being on the property.
Okay, that's what, at his house.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the way I'm reading, I'm like, okay, okay.
And with the officer not being here, I've got questions too, especially like the transport part, whether that goes with the clause for, June, or whether that was in this time, like where does that fall in the hierarchy? I'm a little bit confused and as to the notes as well.
and there's a question as to what color the dog is. Because the owner says the dog isn't brown, and the officer says the dog that he picked up was brown. So it's not ironclad. I would feel uncomfortable upholding the citation, but there's also we're not being asked to uphold, we're being asked to consider an appeal. So that's where I would go for. Let's just give it some time, perhaps, and see
I get told that
Yeah. if the dog apparently got out in June, and there's a question as to whether the dog got out in August. That's 2 months, so 60 days. If it happens again by the end of October, then the dog gets out. If it doesn't happen again, then
I don't have a problem with it. I think what's clear are.
so I guess my motion, if you're ready for a motion, would be to hold the ticket in abeyance for 60 days. And if there's not a recurrence, then it goes away.
That's what I would kind of suggest.
Okay.
So we do have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Okay, so just to make sure that,
Mhm.
so Mr. Griffin's not here.
Right.
The officer's not here.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that the officer's testimony is not here.
Well, that's true.
Right. But there's some inconsistency in, and some questions I have about the details.
Knowing how Officer Sarah writes his reports, would you like me to review it now to see if I can make the difference between when they are, or do you want
I mean,
to avoid any speculation?
I would prefer to avoid at this point with the confusion.
Yeah.
But thank you.
I guess I'll take the questions.
All right, no other discussion. There's a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I'm just really torn on this. I guess I'll go aye.
Okay, so aye, and then I'll be abstaining.
You're abstaining.
I'm abstaining, yeah. Probably because I'm as torn as you are.
3-0-1.
All right, so that motion
I have a
passes.
point of order.
Yep.
That's county legal. County legal, I've got a question for you. We just had a motion pass with 3 representatives voting in favor from a commission that has 7 members. Are we good? Ken,
You're muted.
You're muted.
It's gonna take me a second to look into that. This is why these things become a problem. So give me a second.
Okay, thank you. That was my fault. I wasn't planning that, you know,
All right,
but this is an example of the quorum versus majority requirements for passing.
it's all cut yours. Okay. If you want to prepare, we'll give Connie a few more minutes before we move on from this one, but.
So the other 3 are
Okay,
at least partially mine.
perfect.
What's the next one on the list we're doing?
It's gonna give Connie a little bit before we move on, because we'd rather than circle back, but yeah, Alcott is next. Alcott is next.
That's all I wanted. Thank you.
You guys are all wishing that Catherine would show up and not me.
Other side of the world.
Yeah. Well, they got Zoom there. Right.
That's who they're-
It's just that it's 6 in the morning. You know? Should I be? Who said? Maybe.
I can't remember if it was Tasmania or. I don't think it's, yeah.
It'd be -6 plus 11. They don't do summertime because it's not summer there. It's winter. Spring, pardon. Plus 11, -4. So we're 15 hours behind them.
Would it be, I mean, just for the sake of time this evening, should we move on to the next one and then come back to this if we need to? Oh, curious.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come back to this. This is a real nightmare. It's gonna take me a minute to look into it. So if we want to move on to the next one, I can
Okay.
do some research on this.
All right. So we might
Yes,
have
hear
to, my apologies, we might have to circle right back around to yours. So we'll jump into the Alcott, the potentially dangerous request. You want to come up and have a seat and fill us in?
Do you need a copy?
This is one that I have pretty much memorized. So the incident between Mr. Alcock's dog and I forget the other individual's name. The 2 dogs, Mr. Alcock's dog, from what I have understood, was previously contained and got out of the house and attacked the other dog unprovoked. They did manage to separate the dogs, and the injured dog did get taken down the road to get looked at by the owner, and Mr. Alcock's dog once again found the other dog and started attacking again. I was not present for this. This is all being told to me by the other dog's owner. I did receive photos, which I have submitted for you guys to review. Because this is an unprovoked attack, from my knowledge, I did believe that we need to look into having some sort of system to hopefully not allow Mr. Alcock's dog to be out again, whether that's fencing, anything. But if it is an unprovoked attack, we need to make sure that we are preventing further attacks from happening, because the dog bite did look, it did enough to puncture, and there's the vet report in there as well, showing exactly what the other dog had done.
And then I read in here that also that the owner had been bitten also by the dog.
That was reported. Mr. Alcock was not present whenever I went to the home to speak with him. It was his daughter and his ex-wife that I spoke with that day. He was at work. I did later in the day speak with Mr. Alcock, who expressed that they had debated euthanizing
Zool. At that, after quarantine, it was decided that they no longer wish to proceed with that route, at which point I decided to present it here since it was presumed by Mr. Alcock that if a euthanasia was ever brought up due to aggression, we knew it was an issue and we needed to find a way to address that.
Looks like Mr. Marquise.
Yes, thank you.
And this happened on the roadway, is that correct?
Yes,
In front of
Mr. Alcock.
Alcott?
They were,
But then the
Mr.
secondary
Marquise.
attack.
So Mr. Marquise was walking down
Mhm.
the sidewalk and in the, or partially in the road. That part kind of was unclear whether the dog was on the road and Mr. Marquise was on the sidewalk or vice versa. And Mr. Alcock's dog did come out to the roadway and sidewalk to get Mr. Marquise's dog. And then once they got them separated after Mr. Marquise had yelled for someone to help, Mr. Marquise ran with his dog down the road and they were, from my knowledge and what I was told, hiding behind a car whenever Zool got loose again and found them again. So it happened initially in front of Mr. Alcock's home and then did move further down the street.
The initial incident, was it on Mr. Alcott's property?
No,
Or-
it was on the
In
road.
front of,
Okay. Okay,
yes,
so the follow.
not
Yeah.
on the property,
Gotcha.
but it was in front of the property.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Thank you. Mr. Alcott, if you'd like to come forward and let us know anything you'd like us to know about the situation?
Yeah, so I got home, my daughter was there, I was carrying groceries in, putting groceries away, still had a couple more bags to grab. The door didn't come latched, the screen door, and, Frank, I believe was his first name, was walking his dog. Zool ran out. My friend that was there said, "Where's Zool?" I'm like, "Oh shit." Excuse me. I should have grabbed the shot collar and that would have fixed a lot of things in me getting bit. But I ran across the street, seen him chasing the dog. Yelling at him, "Zool, Zool." And typically he listens to me great, but he was in a zone. I've had this dog since he was 7.5 weeks old. I walk him without a leash all the time. But he was not listening to anything. And then I jump on him and he's got this dog and got my hands inside of his mouth. I'm like yelling at him, "Stop." And he got me right here. I got 5 stitches from that. At that point, his face is a bloody mess and I got a hold of his shot collar. Frank, he goes across the street and I'm like, okay, I can chill for a minute. Zool sees that they're over there and the shot collar rips or the collar just breaks. And then he's over there again. And then I'm running over there. I jump on him, finally get him, and I wrestle him down and I'm holding him down. My daughter comes, I'm like, "Go get the leash and his, collar from the inside." And she did. We got him home and I apologized to Frank. And at that point I was going to put my dog down, but I couldn't. So, I mean, I have a sign on the front door that says "Shut the front door." It's always we come in, the doors get shut. I've even improved I got like a 4-foot fence. I've put, making it 5 foot in some areas that, could possibly, I'm going through all the steps I can to make sure this don't ever happen again. But it first starts with shutting the front door and keeping it shut. I didn't want that to happen, not feel bad. And I told Frank, so sorry that it happened, he's not been, Zool's not around a lot of dogs, he seen the dog and he ran out there and made a mistake on, it's my fault, I shut the door. I feel bad for the situation, but I'm doing everything I can to make sure it don't ever happen again.
Can I ask you about Zool? Is he microchipped or has he been altered? Is he intact or is he?
No, he's been neutered and chipped, I believe, yeah. And I, got his rabies vaccinations and Miss Hamilton can get a test for that.
You've had him since he was 7 weeks old and
Yeah.
now he's 7. Have you?
No,
noticed-
he's 5 now.
Oh, he's 5.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, going on 5, I believe. Yeah.
Have you noticed a change in his behavior or anything?
No, he's a good dog. He's a great dog. I love the dog. I cried for 3 days thinking I was gonna put him down and, yeah, I'm gonna do everything so it don't happen again. I need to, I wish I could afford some training. If you have, I don't know if there's any options that you guys got for, some sort of behavioral training. I did make a mistake as in growing up, not having him around other dogs, really. And I'm seeing that now. But, what I do at this point, he's kind of, gets a little rowdy around other dogs, he's great with people.
You have another dog too?
No,
Oh.
no. And he
Oh,
plays
that
along,
was the one that got hurt.
he plays along the fence with the Newfoundland next door, but, I don't, it's, he gets barky with him and it's, I could see him, yeah, he's a good dog, and he listens well and he knows a few tricks, but, yeah, he's keeping him from going through the front door. Yeah, I just keep the front door shut and seem like it solved the issue for, at this point. How is the other dog?
From my knowledge, she's been playing.
That's good to hear. So I'm glad that I guess I took the worst of the damage.
Just so you know, we are, the sheriff's department has asked us to consider potentially dangerous declaration on the dog where you're not in trouble. Yeah. Any citation that was issued at the time is between you and the courts, and any restitution between you and the other owners, between you and Frank. All we're looking at is the dog's behavior, whether he meets the conditions in the county ordinance to be declared potentially dangerous or dangerous. None of those would require the dog to be taken from you. Okay. They all basically have to do with things you have to do, altering and chipping and spaying and that stuff, which apparently has already been done, and specific requirements regarding how the dog has to be kept in, when he's in the house, when he's outside, actually in the house, outside the house, or off the property, of the 3 conditions, we'll discuss it, but there's definitions in code as far as what specific things that the dog did, whether it rises to the level of potentially dangerous or dangerous. There's not a lot of judgment. We're basically just measuring what happened and what the code says and which hole it fits into to determine if there's any gray area. We'll discuss it. It's public record. You guys will have a chance to hear what we're talking about. If we have a follow-up question, we will. But just to let you know, that's what we're looking at, is the dog's behavior in the situation that happened. That's why I was asking questions about where did it happen, and the current status of the dog as far as whether he's been neutered or not. So that's one of the things that we might require, that he be neutered, but he's not been neutered. So that's a small thing. So let's just let you know what we're going to be talking about here.
Okay.
So cool.
Any other questions? No.
Okay.
No. All right. Well, thank you. And we'll go into our discussion now.
Sure.
So I'm seeing these scrapes. We've got one puncture,
Another underneath.
another underneath.
And stitches.
And, okay, sorry about that. We'll pick back up with our discussion on the Alcott case.
Okay. So we've not been asked to consider this.
No.
So we would basically start on page 2 of the flow chart.
But if you go through the flow chart, that's what I was asking. I'm not sure it qualifies for potentially.
Walk us through your thoughts.
Okay, here's the reason why. It is off property, yes. Did it cause a situation or injuries which are particularly grievous?
Right.
I would say no.
No.
So that takes us unjustified attack, yes. Bites to a person that lead to at least one deep puncture, no. Causes severe injury or injuries leading to the death of a domestic pet or livestock, no. So it's not dangerous.
Right.
Takes us down here, unjustified attack, yes. Who was the victim? A domestic pet. Causes severe injury, I would say no. Causes injuries leading to death, I would say no, so not potential. So the question is,
Well, here,
Do we
let's,
consider that
I think
severe?
we need to read the
what's
full
severe?
ordinance, well, the
Yeah.
full ordinance, because it doesn't include, includes a little bit more language than
Okay,
just severe.
so,
So, well, dangerous has got to come first. So dangerous, we can just got decided whether it applies. Animal off property owned, lawfully occupied or controlled by the owner of the guardian. The animal causes an unjustified bite with a deep puncture to a person. Or when unjustified causes severe injury leading, or injuries leading to the death of domestic pet or livestock. Severe injury in Indiana code is defined as any physical injury that results in multiple bites, broken bones, muscle tears, or disfiguring lacerations, or requires multiple sutures or corrective cosmetic surgery. That's okay. Where the situation or injuries are particularly egregious. And that's egregiousness, if that's a word, is not defined. So that's, yeah. So, multiple sutures to a person. The ordinance specifies a deep puncture. Doesn't talk about,
which we define that as half a canine, don't we?
Mhm.
Which I would say that is.
and then, injury to a pet or domestic livestock would be unjustified, severe injury or causing death.
So, yeah, I see, yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm not seeing the puncture, but I am seeing bruising here. And that's the reason why. So we know that's a puncture for sure. So is that and that the same, or is that on the other side?
This officer, can you explain the injuries to the victim dog?
So, from my understanding of the images that I was sent and talking on the phone, this injury here in the mostly brown area is separate from this deeper shaded area. So
Okay,
they
so
are on opposite sides.
Okay, I couldn't
of
tell
the
this
body.
that. Hold on, okay, well then that.
I was gonna say, from my understanding and talking with Mr. Marquise, those are different sides of the abdomen. And are not the same puncture.
So in that case, it would be multiple. So then potentially dangerous
Good apply.
could apply.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Which, just kind of, I have a dog that has done a similar thing years ago. And it's so disheartening as the owner of the dog. But you do kind of look at the severity of it and the fact that once you know it and you start taking steps towards it and you realize you've got a dog who can snap, especially at another dog for no reason. Most of what potentially dangerous has in here, they're working on.
Mhm.
Um,
You want to read the requirements quick?
Yeah, so potentially dangerous on your property, it must be kept indoors in a secure outdoor enclosure from which it cannot escape. It needs to be, when it's off property, it needs to be leashed at all times by a substantial leash, not more than 6 feet. I usually recommend 4. Leash needs to be under the control of an adult, and then it must be microchipped. So all of those things you have done or doing, you, especially mentioning that you're raising your fence another foot.
Yeah.
I'm guessing by the breed is pretty strong.
He's so strong.
The other scenario, just want you to know, once a dog is identified as this, and you follow all of these, and the officer comes and tells us, yep, they got it, can't escape, we're good. You, as far as going and training and all of that, all perfectly fine. You might find yourself getting a soft muzzle,
I got him.
just for your own.
That's when I
Peace of
take him to
mind.
the vet, when I take him to the vet or, places like that, I'll put the soft muzzle on.
So you're already doing everything at that point in time. If there were no incidents that would happen in
12 months.
12 months, you could come back and ask for it to be taken off. If there were another incident, obviously it could escalate then to kind of the next level, which could be dangerous. Which has a few more things that have to happen with it, like a sign and some other things. But right now, you're already doing everything. It probably, considering what did happen, to look to identify it as potentially dangerous, would probably be just a safe measure.
I concur. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to,
So.
Zool, thank you, that Zool be listed as potentially dangerous.
All right, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and second, all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Those 4 no opposed, exceptions in this case, so that motion carries. So the dog's been declared potentially dangerous. So you'll be getting a letter from the county kind of explaining those requirements that Valerie just said. Getting one off property on leash, muzzles an extra great, especially if he has, or starting to have more of those dog reactions. It's a good thing to have when you're out and about. And check that fence. The fence been working between large dog, short fence. Just double check, because as he changes and what might be triggering him, that might be involved.
Yeah, and a shot collar could be that it's not helping the situation if he already gets in that aggravated.
Well, he listens to the shot
He does,
collar,
okay.
and I panicked and didn't grab it.
Yeah, it's,
No, where they're hard lessons.
a hard
I'm
lesson.
trying to wrestle my dog down, and he's so strong.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was able to, save the dog, I guess. Because he may have went further if I went out there. So, I did all I could, but I should have, he has a new shot collar now, since the last one broke. Then I put him in the car. If I'm gonna take him for a walk, I got a place down by the river where nobody's at. So that ain't my place, but it's a friend's place. Yeah, so I take him away from the neighborhood when I go for a walk.
Handy tip, if you're ever in a dog fight, grab the back of the attacking dog's legs and pull them backwards,
Okay.
rather than stick your own hand in the
Yeah,
middle.
that's
It's really
that's
tempting,
good idea.
but-
It's a good idea. I just, I play with my dog and in his mouth and everything. It's, you know, he don't ever try to bite me.
No, he wasn't like you. He was just out the way.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mr. Tucker, one other piece of advice. I don't know if you currently take Zool out for walks without him being leashed. If you do, those days are over now.
Right.
Because potentially dangerous, must be leashed. If he's not in your house, he's got to be leashed.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's on here.
Yeah, and if you're doing it, that's great. Just want to make certain that it has to be that way from now.
Yeah.
And you might check MCHA, the Monroe County Humane Association. They offer at times very inexpensive lessons on some different things, like $10 type of thing. But if you get on their website under the education part, you can see sometimes when they might be offering something. So it could be some things you could do there.
Okay, so then if he has no issues with the next year,
Right.
I can come back and
Make an appeal.
Yeah.
a year from this date today.
It'll be a year from when you get the letter from the county legal. There'll be a date on that letter. It may not be the date you get it, probably the date they write it.
Okay, right.
Be that plus 1 day.
So soon, like October next year.
Yeah.
I understand. That's
Yeah.
fair.
All right.
Okay.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of this or bug out your.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Okay.
Thanks.
Justin, do you have a? Yeah.
I do. It took me a second to put my hands on it. But chapter 216 of the Monroe County Code talks about uniform provisions for board and commissions. 216-2H talks about quorum. It requires a majority of the membership, either in person or by proxy, to be there, and a majority vote of the voting members present is necessary to pass a motion.
Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So what we did was in order.
So what, yeah, so the motion carried, so that stayed. So going back, correct me if I'm wrong, that ticket will be held in abeyance for 60 days. If there is no other violations of the county code, those will just go away.
And do I need to contact anybody in the 60 days or just automatically?
It should just automatically go away. If there is any kind of violation, we'll just come back. All right.
Anything else for me?
Thank you. You are all set. You're welcome to stay if you like, or enjoy the rest of your evening.
Everybody wants to get home, so yeah, you're here. Thank you. You got very much.
Thank you. All right, so the next one on the agenda is the habitual offender declaration request for Hatton. We did the big one first, I think.
Yeah.
This is the real fun one, guys.
Four case files. We did these two, 1, 2.
All right, whenever you're ready, like to.
Okay, so the first thing that I would like to point out is no citations have been written for these dogs being at large. Because we cannot get the owner to talk to us. She refuses to come away from her porch, and we cannot enter the property without the dogs charging at us. So we are forced to try to yell to talk to the owner and she will not respond, or she'll tell us she's not talking to us. Without dog information, we cannot issue citations, as all of our citations are animal specific based on color, age, gender, name, all of that. We have to have to write a citation. So all of this is going off of times that we have been called out to the residents when the dogs have been out. There have been multiple times where myself and Officer Williams have responded. And once you get out of the car, the dogs will run back into the fence that Miss Hatton has. She does have a fence up. The gates are just always left open.
Okay.
She does not want to close the gates. She has been asked if that is an option. And she says that that is her way out of her driveway. They're staying open. The dogs have dug into neighbors' fences trying to get to their animals. They have entered other fences where other residents are. We have let Miss Hatton know that this is an ongoing issue of her dogs being out multiple times. But nothing seems to be getting done. Nothing is changing. And the dogs are continuing to get out. We are continuing to get phone calls. And without having any more information, we cannot do anything past.
How many dogs are there?
There are 3. There are 2 brindle and 1 blue. The blue one is very obviously some kind of pit or pit terrier family. The 2 brindles, I would say, do not look quite as, like, maybe they have pit in them, but they almost look more like mastiff or something similar. They're all very bulky breeds, but there are 2 brindles and a gray or blue.
So the reality is,
Tech
we
dog.
could, just based on that little bit of information, we could just lump these dogs as one group in this habitual.
Well,
Yeah, just to clarify, you haven't written any, there haven't been any citations levied yet?
We
Should I-
cannot write a citation to her without her giving us dog information. She will not answer a phone call from us. She will not give us a call back. If the dogs happen to be in her garage and we leave a door notice, the door notice we can see has been removed from where we have left it, but we never receive a call. And she refuses to talk to us whenever we have gone to the edge of the property, which is as far as we can go without the dogs charging at us.
sounds like she's read our habitual offender code, because without citations and without a previous declaration, we can't declare habitual. We have to find a way to facilitate access for you guys to get to the dogs, whether it's a warrant or something along those lines, which is beyond our ability.
But that's the reason why I'm questioning if we can lump the dogs, all 3 together, keep them together as 3, rather than 3 individual dogs, it is 3 dogs. We know 2 are brindle, 1 is gray blue. While we have no other identification or information, we know who they belong to.
Mhm.
So can we not write
A citation.
a citation based on that? Because part of what I have to believe, what's so specific on the name and the color and the sex and all of that, is that we make sure we're doing the correct dogs.
Yes.
So in this particular case, we have this information, we know who they're attached to. Is
And there's
that,
video evidence. It seems like that'd be enough to write a citation.
And
And
that is
especially if you
something
have-
that I would have to follow up with my sergeant and then possibly take to Lieutenant Colonel or the sheriff himself to get
right?
extra permission to do that.
To me, that
Which-
needs to be the goal.
Okay.
So we need to find out with the limited amount of information we have on the particular animals.
Okay.
But knowing we have video footage, knowing we have multiple neighbor complaints that
Mhm.
all direct back to these same 3 animals described as 2 brindles and a gray blue of mixed breed, mixed bully breed, we can say that much. That should open the door.
I can't make a motion, but I would be in favor of somebody making a motion to hold this until next month and allow that follow-up to happen.
I'll make that motion. So let's hold this in abeyance until
Okay.
the next meeting.
Okay.
Whatever our date is for that. And if over the
10-2.
10-2, okay, and then if within those 30 days, you can run this up the flagpole within the sheriff's
Within our
department.
department.
To find out if that would hold. And if so, then I would begin writing citations based on the complaints you've received.
The citation would be for public nuisance
Mhm.
or at large or both
Both.
and or.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
Say, because at this point, we also don't know rabies status, alteration, we have nothing. So,
But if you, but if you're permitted to write a citation for either of those, then the burden shifts to her
yeah,
to demonstrate compliance with rabies. So,
Yeah.
right.
so I can definitely follow up with my department and see if they would allow, or see if that citation will hold.
I would think with the number of neighbors we're talking about and everything. it's gonna
And
be-
the amount of officers that have.
We're spending their time over there.
And there's, yeah, I mean, seems like there's enough information that the dogs, if they aren't owned by her, she is at least harboring them, which puts her in there,
And,
so.
mhm.
And it might, you know the code as well as anybody else, but if you were to take a copy of the habitual offender definition so they can see what we need to act on, we have to have the owner having violated 3 times, not doing, so basically, either the dogs have got to have been declared by us potentially dangerous, and then the owner not complying with it,
Mhm.
or the owner is not complying at least 3 times with any provision of the chapter, including keeping the dogs from being a public nuisance or keeping your dogs from, so we have a due process to follow. We're not even to square one yet. We have to get, I'm not leading by saying you need to write her tickets, but
Yeah,
if there are no citations on her or her dogs, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so we have a
which makes
motion,
sense.
And a second.
second.
Here.
Oh, okay,
Matt.
Matt second.
Matt second.
All right. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Awesome, thank you. So then going to our last new business, official offender for Vanos. Did I say that correctly?
To my knowledge, yes.
Another,
This one has been issued a citation for the tan bully mix that goes by the name of Bougie. The other dog in question that she also owns has not had a citation written, as that one just had puppies, so it has been contained purely to the house, but it was out habitually and quite a lot previously. Despite giving many verbal warnings, Bougie was out. We did issue the citation. He has been seen out again. However, by time we have made it over there or have stopped our vehicle, Miss Vanus has had the dog back on her property. Sometimes it has just been, we're driving through the area to check on the other homeowners or making sure that the dogs are not in the road. And other times it's been calls. But with Bougie being out, it has been addressed with the owner and a citation has been given to her. And I'm unsure exactly what was sent to you, as Officer Williams was the one presiding over these. Thank you. Primarily, I did not come onto these until I started in July. And it has just been something that I have been assisting in Officer Williams following up with.
So do we know if the dogs have previously been declared dangerous, potentially dangerous, or they're just,
To my knowledge, they have not.
okay, but we had priors on all the dogs? The dog Bougie.
Bougie has one citation as well as multiple reports of being out.
was there a wellness check done? Is that the one I read in here? I'm looking for it again. I thought at some point in time, I read about a wellness check. Yes, as to its welfare and living condition. Appeared to be somewhat healthy, but is never known at the time in the funeral situation.
Was that for Hatton or for Venus, the wellness check?
That's, yeah, that is.
I was gonna say, I
that is
think,
this one, is that the switch?
Some, things.
Yeah,
Yeah, because on Schwartz Ridge Road.
so these two cases are right next to each other. So one of them is 4125 and the other one is 4135, if I'm remembering Hatton's address correctly. But there's Venus is in this address and Hatton is in the house directly next door. So it's all the same neighbors having all of these dogs run at them, but they go different directions wherever they go home.
And so with these dogs, so far, there's just been boardings and then the one citation, or there were multiple citations?
I have been present for the one citation.
The one
If,
that's in-
yes,
Okay.
if previous citations have been issued, it was prior to me being employed with animal management, and I am not aware of those.
I don't recall seeing those in some of the old reports. Didn't miss them.
I would say probably not, because I know that there's been a lot of verbal warning given to this individual from Officer Williams and Officer Vest in the past without writing anything.
Well, knowing we only have one actual citation, it's a little difficult to do habitual. I think the important thing moving forward would be if they continue to get out, we switch verbal warning to continued citations.
Yeah.
And then then we may not cause to bring this back.
Yeah, once we get 3, that's the critical number. Was there?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still, yeah.
Yeah.
Once we get 3 citations that have been ignored or more, then there are things we can do.
Okay.
So,
All right. Do we have, I guess we should probably still make a motion.
Yeah, so at this, I would make a motion to not, are we not declaring habitual, or are we not presenting the case?
I don't think we need to make a motion to not do something.
Because it
So the
hasn't met,
Right, the request came up, so I don't think, because
I don't think it's anything we have to vote.
I mean, if we want to make certain, I can make a motion that we deny the request for virtual vendor at this time.
Okay,
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Let's do it.
I move that the request for virtual vendor at this time be denied.
I'll second.
Second, okay. So motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's gonna be everybody again. All right, motion carries 4-0. All right,
That's procedural, it's not, we're not accusing you of anything.
given the history, we all expect them to come back soon.
Okay.
All right, so now we'll move into reports and discussion. Start off with the animal shelter. We are still in our summer months. There's some signs that our intake starting to decrease or going to be decreasing, as it often does towards the fall. However, just let everybody know we have an open animal care tech position. Unfortunately, there's nobody online. But if anybody wants to apply for that, we are hiring. So we'll be short staffed for a few weeks. Just we can do. Okay. It's my quick report tonight. Officers, do you have anything to report?
Nothing too new with us. We are in the process of figuring out a couple large animal possible overtakes that will be coming here. We are working with the shelter and putting a plan to bring them in gradually rather than bringing in large animals.
Like
Are you talking-
Large amounts of animals. Sorry. let me
I don't
rephrase
remember.
that. Don't panic, Virgil.
Cats.
Large amounts of animals, yes, and both cases happen to be cats.
Okay.
I'm not sure I understand what Katie. I would be echoing here on.
So they have a couple, amount, I mean, questionable hoarding, large amounts of animals that need to be, seized, basically.
Okay,
So, working on this.
that makes more sense to me now.
Yeah, that's every few years.
All right, legal, do you have anything for us this evening? Oh, you're still muted.
Still muted.
It remuted. Oh, we heard that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to, whoever made the decision at the county that we're going to use Teams, I'm going to have a discussion with. That's my first update. As far as other things, interestingly, I know Virtual, you pointed out that that you guys figured out that it actually said we had a board of 9. I have a printed out copy of our animal management statute that I use when we do these hearings that was last amended on May 22nd of this year, which shows 7. I went and looked based on what you guys said, and it does say 9 now. I have no idea why my guess is when they updated the dog and pony show ordinance, that somehow they just put that on the old one. I'll check with Mike, check with everybody and get that sorted out. But it was correct at one time. Now it is no longer correct, but we will get that sorted out. And that is my update.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any animal management discussion this evening?
No,
Actually covered it, so.
No?
I think I'm frozen.
I'm all about figuring out when we're gonna do something about mandatory spay neuter, unless you have a breeder permit or something. Because otherwise, we're out of space, we're out of people. I mean,
I think it's definitely worth a group to discuss that. I also think that if for this fall, we're going to call a group to talk about ordinance updates again. I know we've lived with the potentially dangerous, probably to do that, but have 2 separate groups address those topics.
seems like you just did it.
If we, hypothetically, if Monroe County were to require that domestic pets be spayed and neutered, does that also require for us to track this, that the animals be licensed or registered or something along those lines? Or is it not, or is it, where's the burden? Does the county have to prove that your animal is spayed and neutered, therefore we have to have a record of it? Or do we let the owners deal with it, and if we catch them with an unspayed or neutered, then we lower the boom on it?
I think that's an excellent question.
Yeah.
And from animal control perspective, if we do go with that kind of ordinance, having a licensure would make it easier. Of course, those that aren't going to do it aren't going to do it, but at least you have a starting point.
Okay. I'm just thinking Indiana property rights.
it wouldn't be, I mean, this is not gonna be an easy discussion, and I mean, there's no
Yeah.
doubt about it, but I honestly wonder if there is enough that is happening within the state, because it's happening all over the country, but enough shelters in the state are in the exact same situation we are, where there's more animals than we can handle. And unless we want to see euthanasia rates go off the chart, which nobody does, then we have to find other solutions. And so I don't know, this may be a year or 2 project, but I think it's a matter of finding other like communities who are trying to figure out the same situation.
Yeah, cool. Okay, No quick answer.
So, I mean, given that we're a short group, I'm not gonna call for people to think about joining one of those two discussions, but we'll bring it up next month and hopefully go from there.
Okay.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to go home.
Go home.
Well,
We have a
second.
motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
That didn't know. That was-
I
was gonna
didn't
abstain.
hear me.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to